There is a river running beneath the street you are standing on. It has been there longer than the city above it, longer than the buildings, the roads, the bridges. It was flowing before the first house was built on this land, before anyone thought to name the place at all. Nobody buried it because it was useless. They buried it because it was inconvenient. And it is still there, still moving, still finding its way to the sea. Almost every major city on Earth was built next to water. Not just the great rivers everyone knows, the Thames, the Seine, the Hudson, but smaller ones too. Streams and tributaries that carved the valleys, fed the wells, and made the land worth settling in the first place. These smaller rivers shaped the earliest geography of cities in ways that are still visible today if you know how to look. The dip in the road, the curve of a street that seems to bend for no reason, a valley that appears between two hills in the middle of a dense urban grid. That is almost always a river, hidden, buried, forgotten, but still there underneath it all. This is the story of what happened to those rivers. In London, in Paris, in Rome, in cities across the world that grew too fast, too messily, and too carelessly to leave room for the water that was there first. In the mid-19th century, a civil engineer named Joseph Bazalgette stood on the banks of the Thames and looked at a problem that was killing people by the thousands. London had buried its rivers, the Fleet, the Walbrook, the Tyburn, the Effra. One by one, as the city expanded, these streams had been covered over, built upon, turned into open sewers, and then enclosed entirely beneath brick tunnels. Out of sight, out of mind. The problem was that burying a river does not make it disappear. It makes it worse. Every buried stream in London had become a drain. Every drain emptied into the Thames, and the Thames ran through the middle of a city of 2 million people who drank from it, washed in it, and disposed of everything they no longer wanted into it. In the summer of 1858, the smell rising from the river became so overwhelming it drifted into the Houses of Parliament. Members attempted to continue working. They could not. The stench drove them from the chamber. The newspapers called it the Great Stink. Bazalgette's response was one of the greatest feats of Victorian engineering. A network of intercepting sewers running beneath the city, capturing the flow of every buried river before it could reach the Thames, carrying it eastward to new outfalls far downstream. To house part of this system, he built new embankments along the river. Beneath the elegant public promenade of the Victoria Embankment runs one of the largest drains ever constructed beneath a city. He did not restore the rivers. He buried them deeper. But he saved the city, and the rivers kept flowing anyway. Beneath London today, there are at least 12 rivers that no longer appear on any map of the surface city. The Fleet is the most famous. Rising on Hampstead Heath, it flows south through Camden and Clerkenwell before entering the Thames at Blackfriars. You can hear it through a grating on the corner of Warner Street in Clerkenwell if you stop and hold still long enough. The Effra runs beneath Brixton and Stockwell. The Westbourne flows under Sloane Square, passing through a large iron pipe suspended above the platforms of the District and Circle line. Passengers on those trains pass beneath a river every day without knowing it. The Walbrook, which ran through the heart of Roman London and gave the city much of its earliest shape, still flows somewhere beneath the financial district. Its course is traced by the curve of streets that have not changed in 2,000 years. Paris buried its rivers more deliberately and more completely than almost any other city. The Bièvre was once a working river that powered tanneries and mills along its banks for centuries. By the 19th century, those same tanneries had turned it into an open sewer. It was enclosed progressively from the 1840s onward and disappeared entirely from the surface by 1912. It still flows beneath the 13th arrondissement. There have been serious proposals to restore sections of it to the surface. None has succeeded yet. Beneath Paris also runs the network of quarry tunnels that became the catacombs. These are not rivers, but they follow the same logic. The city needed something, extracted it, and then forgot what it had left behind underground. The tunnels stretch for nearly 300 kilometers beneath the city. Only a small fraction is open to the public. The rest is unmapped, unstable, and largely unexplored. Rome's buried river is the Cloaca Maxima. Built by the ancient Romans to drain the marshy valley between the Palatine and Capitoline hills, it is one of the oldest sewers in the world. Parts of it date to the 6th century BC. It still functions today. After more than 2,500 years, the Cloaca Maxima still carries storm water and drainage from the center of Rome into the Tiber. Engineers who have descended into it report finding Roman brickwork in near-perfect condition. The river it was built to drain, the Velabrum, no longer exists as a surface waterway, but the system built to manage it is still working. The Los Angeles River is not buried, but something arguably worse has been done to it. After catastrophic flooding in 1938, the Army Corps of Engineers encased the entire river in concrete. 51 miles of what had been a living waterway was turned into a flood control channel, a concrete ditch running through one of the largest cities in the world. For decades, it was used primarily as a filming location for car chases. In recent years, there have been significant efforts to restore sections of it to something resembling a natural river. The debate over what to do with it has become one of the most contested urban planning arguments in American history. The river is still there. It never left. The city just decided it was a problem to be managed rather than a place to be inhabited. Burying a river does not solve the problem it represents. Every city that enclosed its rivers discovered this eventually. Water finds its way. Buried rivers flood when rainfall overwhelms the tunnels built to contain them. They undermine foundations. They create sinkholes. They reappear in basements and underground stations during heavy rain, reminding the city above that the decision to hide them was never really a solution. London floods regularly along the courses of its buried rivers. The fleet broke from its underground channels in 1846, flooding streets and smashing a boat against Blackfriars Bridge. In 2021, tube stations along the course of the Westbourne flooded during heavy rainfall. The river had simply exceeded the capacity of the Victorian tunnel built to contain it. Cities are now beginning to reckon with what burying their rivers actually costs them, not just in flood risk and infrastructure maintenance, but in the loss of something that shaped the land, cooled the air, supported ecosystems, and gave neighborhoods an identity that no amount of urban development has been able to replace. Several cities have begun the slow and expensive process of daylighting buried rivers, bringing them back to the surface. Seoul restored the Cheonggyecheon stream in 2005, removing an elevated highway that had been built over it and returning 4 miles of river to the surface of the city. Within a few years, the surrounding neighborhoods had transformed entirely. Property values rose, temperatures dropped, wildlife returned. The river had been underground for decades. It came back as if it had never left. There is a grating set into the pavement on a quiet street in Clerkenwell, London. If you kneel beside it on a still day and hold your ear close to the metal, you can hear water moving in the darkness below. The Fleet, still flowing, still finding its way south toward the Thames, the way it has for thousands of years. The street above it has been rebuilt many times. The buildings have changed. The people who walk over it every day have no idea it is there. The river does not know any of this. It simply flows,